Hello, and welcome to another episode of Truth Wanted. I am your host tonight, Puck. And with me tonight is our very special guest, Ethan Micheal, first time on an ACA show. Hello, Ethan.
Oh, yeah. What's up, dude? How are you, Puck?
I am doing well. So we are making history here because unlike what the intro said, this is not live from Austin, Texas. This is, as far as I know, the first live ACA call-in show where none of the hosts are in Texas. I am broadcasting from Ohio.
Chicago.
Right. And so we are making history here tonight, folks. So if you want to be part of this is a call-in show. So go give us a call. We have plenty of open lines. We want to hear what you have to say. We want to know what you believe and why. Ethan, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, for one, my stomach is in knots right now. This is super exciting for one to be doing this with you, Puck. And special thanks to Objectively Dan and Greg for inviting me on. And thank you to the crew. You want to know about me, you said?
Yeah.
I am a new atheist. New YouTube atheist, I should say. I've been an atheist for about 5 years. And then earlier in the year, I finally got someone to debate me. And that's how I started a YouTube channel. And then I quickly learned that I was not very good at debating, and that was not my thing to do. So that is actually how I met both Puck and Kenneth Leonard, because both of them reached out to me and were like, it looks like you could use some help. And I'm like, yeah, it's that bad, isn't it? And they're like, no, let me just give you some tips. So yeah, from there, I realized I wasn't a debater and focused more on conversations, roundtables, and then I recently started a call-in show.
And this is where something just ballooned, because one of the things that stands out to me most about you as a content creator is the sheer amount of content that you put out. I mean, like, there are some people, they'll do weekly videos. That's cool. Not you. Once a week just isn't enough. So at your peak and then where you are now, how much content were you putting out?
Okay, so for one, I was putting out a little too much. I think it was COVID. We're sitting at home. I have free time because there were times I was doing 4 shows in a single day. One time I was doing like 2 shows back to back. Like I had to jump out of one and go on into the other. So yeah, it's been a lot, but I've since dialed it back because I think the more I do this, the more I've learned I don't know anything. And I want to focus much more on learning and, making sure my content is top quality. And
so talk to us a little bit about the different shows that you have.
Sure. So I have the weekly call-in show with Jenna Belk every Sunday at 11 a.m., which is awesome. We typically cover mental health. This last week was mental health and politics. We've covered mental health and intimacy, mental health and atheism, things like that. So it's every week, every Sunday. I can't talk. I'm sorry. I'm legitimately nervous, Puck. This is exciting for me.
That never goes away. Yeah.
This is like, is this actually happening right now? Anyways, so I have that Sunday show with Jenna Belk. Then every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. we do a show called Perspective, where people call in with conspiracy theories, supernatural beliefs, belief in aliens, anything like that, and we talk to them about it. We go for friendly, compassionate listening. And then Wednesdays on my other channel, I was doing YFNE News, a political show called In Black and White. Although I've stepped away from doing that. I'm just going to be producing it because, again, as I keep growing and learning, I realize that I am not qualified to have a lot of these conversations, like particularly in the political arena. So I have, really condensed my shows down to just 3 total. So, but I still do a lot of producing on the side. with
Yeah,
my
I like when
channel.
you say we brought it down to 3 shows. Like most people take several years to work up to 3 shows, and here you are, putting out this. It's a wonderful amount of content, and yeah, like you said, I was part of it from almost the very beginning, and I was honored to be part of that and to help you grow your channel and help you learn and help you grow into the channel that you are today. So it's great watching how far you've come in that short amount of time.
Well, same to you, Puck. It's really surprising. Like to me, this is really cool because we're both baby atheist YouTubers. And Puck came on my channel. He had his own show for a little while. And now he's springing up and co-hosting a show on Truth Wanted. So it's super cool that we're doing this together, man.
Yeah, but now there's a good amount of our audience who doesn't watch this show live, and who, even if they might watch it on YouTube, they are just listening to audio as they're doing other things. We're background noise, and not only that, but the hundreds, if not thousands, of people who listen to this on podcasts. So I want to take a moment to paint the picture for them for a moment here. I am relatively nondescript. I don't use a lot of facial expression or not. I'm wearing a Truth Wanted shirt, and usually when I show up on my appearances, I am just wearing a plain colored T-shirt. Ethan, on the other hand, I have never seen him wearing a shirt that has less than 9 colors on it. He is bursting in every possible seam with personality and energy. And for me, this is one thing that sets your show apart, is your friendliness and your willingness to engage and how outgoing and encouraging you are. So how did this start coming into being part of your channel?
I would say part of it started with the help of Larry the Christian, one of the first people that agreed to debate me. And he challenged me in a lot of ways and forced me to focus more on asking questions than just trying to shut things down. Along with my friend Rick, also a fellow Christian, who, I didn't want to debate him. I just wanted to talk to him. So I started that softer approach. I found that in the beginning, I wasn't being myself. I was emulating like what I had seen other YouTubers do. And eventually it got to a point where I'm like, you know what? This is not me. I need to be who I am, which is a goofy idiot, and go with that.
So let's put a cap to this right now. You are by no means an idiot. You mentioned that you're still learning a lot of things, and come on, aren't we all, right? Like I'm stepping into this show into the very big size 14 shoes of somebody who has like an encyclopedic amount of knowledge of conspiracy claims and the unknown. I wear only a size 9, and I'm only 5'5", so I couldn't possibly fill the shoes. There is a lot to learn out there, but it's very brave of you, Ethan, to, despite acknowledging that you have a lot to learn, you're putting yourself out there anyway. So what would you say is next? What do you want to be learning about?
That's hard to pin down. I would say everything. More about religion, more about philosophy. I need to finish learning every logical fallacy so I can spot them. I need to. I think I do need to spend more time studying street epistemology, because I think that aligns with my approach. I just need to learn more about the methodology and employ it. Because I just think sometimes people do need a compassionate ear, and at that time you establish trust with them, a rapport, and they're more likely to hear your side, versus just immediately shutting them down. So that's kind of why I take the other approach.
So this is the Ethan method, the understanding, like the trying to build that bridge of friendliness,
Yes.
and only then will you start to try to convince them that ketchup does not belong on hot dogs.
Well, it doesn't. If you're not from Chicago, you wouldn't get it. But ketchup never, never, never goes on a hot dog, ever.
Yeah, well, I will continue to put that, but you know what? I welcome the opportunity for you to come in and tell me, hey, this is why you just don't do it. No, you mentioned also that you have a show where you take a look at other claims, like this show does, right? Your The Perspective. So going back to that, I'm sure you've gotten some fascinating claims. What I'm curious about is, are there any that you wish you could go back to? Something that now you've gotten a chance to think about it, explore it more, and now I want to take a deeper dive. And this is going to go right into our callers because this is a live call-in show. We want some people calling in. All right. We are completely green. We're newbies here. And if you've ever wanted to
Yeah.
school an ACA host, this is your chance to do it.
Yes.
So call in. And Ethan, is there anything in particular you'd like to talk more about?
No, I typically, well, maybe I shouldn't say what I don't want to talk about, but I'm pretty open to anything. I guess the best way to put me in a box would say like an entertainer child who now has a YouTube channel. That's how I would classify myself, because I was a DJ and MC for many, many years. And I mean, I am an IT nerd by day, but yeah, I just finally one day was like, I love talking about religion. I want to do this. I want to engage with people. I want to be a voice. So I'm going to be one. And now, like, the exciting part about having this much content is how much I can look back and see where I've improved. Now, I don't do that. I try and do it as much as possible, but it is actually difficult for me because I will listen to some of my content and cringe and be like, oh, I missed that. How did I forget that? Why didn't I do this? And I get so frustrated with myself. So, and to answer your question, I would say almost every call I've taken, I would like to redo. Because there are, I don't think people realize like how difficult it can be when you're live and engaging with someone. When you're new at this, you don't want to push someone too hard. You want to avoid getting, I don't want to put them on the defense. I want them to hear what I have to say. And I want to hear what they have to say. So I'm still trying to find the line of when to start questioning. So it can look like at times I'm not always challenging as much as I should be.
Yeah, my MO has always been I want to at least try to understand where the other person is coming from before starting to go in. The problem with that is especially when it comes to conspiracy claims and the unknown, you will very often get into the Gish Gallop where there's about 20 claims that all come in at once, and you're like, whoa, let's back off and wait a second and go back to that first thing that you talked about. Let's hear about your support from there. And you're right, it's a learning curve for everybody, trying to figure out, okay, what calls do I let go? What calls do I keep them talking? How do I find the point where I need to stop this?
Right.
So I appreciate that there are people like you who, despite, you don't know everything, you don't have everything worked out, but you know what? We're going to go and lend our voice out there anyway. We need more voices out there. And I appreciate that not only are you lending your voice out there, Ethan, but you're also allowing so many other people to have a voice on your platform. And this is what's bringing me to the roundtables that you have. So if you can tell us a little bit more about those.
Sure. So the first roundtable, I called it the International Atheist Roundtable, where I brought in 6 people from all over the world to just talk about the differences of atheism in their country. And since then, I spawned onto more roundtables, like the Women of Atheism Roundtable, the LGBTQIA plus Atheist Roundtable. And when I put those together, I'm not hosting. I make sure there is a host in place of me that is good representation of the community. And that is, to me, like what's important. My platform just isn't mine. I want to use it to prop up the other voices that need to be heard, because there are some brilliant atheists out there, and just brilliant people that don't have their own channel, and they just need a chance. They have so much information to share with other people that all they need is the platform to do it. So I'm happy to be that person and help in any way I can. I did do more of a, like, I don't want to say controversial roundtable, but I try and I'm trying to do more harder topics. For example, like I did one on death with dignity between Christians and atheists. I would like to do one on the Second Amendment. So I want to have these tough conversations, but in a friendly way. The ones that typically end on Facebook with people just yelling and screaming at each other, I don't like that crap. I don't like insults. Like, let's put everyone in a room and find some middle ground.
I appreciate that. And there are so many people that have started, we'll call it their YouTube career on your channel, right? And in the short amount of time that you've done this, I can think of, and I would be included on this list, I can think of at least maybe 4 or 5 people who got their on-air start by appearing on your show, and now they have channels and content of their own. So a huge thank you from me, because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have ever done any of the content that I did. And there are a lot of other people who owe you also for doing the fantastic job that you've done, bringing us all together and bringing us out in a way that maybe we would not have had the chance to had it not been for you.
Puck, thank you. Seriously, thank you. It's been an exciting journey. And for those that don't know, I would like to tell you a little bit about Puck, because he is one of the best human beings I have ever met. I have ever not met. This man has been a voice in my ear for months on end, and we don't always agree, but we're like, here's what I consider it. He's Spock, I'm Kirk. I am just going off my gut, and he's like, no, that's not logical. To give you an example, after all of my streams, I'll have a message from him. So, Ethan, what did we learn? And what do you think that person meant when they said this? He's like a teacher to me, a sensei in many ways. And honestly, he's a great friend. I ran into some issues several months back, some mental health issues, and him and several other people really showed me how great this community is. And he was prepared to just, because I've kind of given him the rights to my channel in a sense, so he was prepared to just take the channel and run with it. And that makes me happy. This is someone the ACA can rely on. This is someone the people in the audience can rely on. He is always engaging and helping everyone he can.
That's very humbling, and I appreciate that. We got a couple of callers coming in here, but we could always use more. So if you're listening to the show and you have anything, usually the best conversations that we have come in from people who they've listening to the show. It's like we only have about a half an hour left, and then they decide to call. We have no time to take the best calls that are out there. So if you're even halfway considering calling, go ahead. You have the friendliest person possible sitting over here, standing over here. And nobody really knows me very much on these shows, but my MO is usually to try to steel man, at least in my head, as much as possible, because everybody believes what they believe for what they believe to be good reasons. I'm curious as to what those are and what if those reasons are actually good reasons to believe. So you have the most understanding people possible sitting here waiting to take your calls. But Ethan, I guess the question that I have for you then is what's next? What's next on the Ethan agenda? Where do you want to take your content? Or maybe it's not content, but what do you want to do coming up?
So I would like to begin doing some, for one, interviews with people outside of the religious community. I want to interview people that don't typically talk religion and politics, because to me, those are the people we need to, I don't want to say lure, but the people we need to give I can't talk. We need to get them interested in these conversations. How many people in this country will say, oh, religion doesn't affect me. I don't care. Politics doesn't bother me. But you know what? It does. It's in our country. It impacts us every day. So I want to talk to those people that typically stay away from these conversations. So I want to be as friendly as possible with them. And I want it to be also simple in many ways, because sometimes it can be, for the average person, it can be difficult keeping track of the long philosophical arguments. I know for me, I struggle with that. I'm still learning. So not everyone knows that stuff. And those are the people I really want to appeal to. Atheism, I'm Atheism 101. That's the best way to look at it. You get this little taste, from this goofy guy. But then before you know it, you're in a world of atheism branched out to all these other channels like Kenneth Leonard, Jenna Belk, Vila Bianca, Puck on Twitch.
Oh, thank you. Hashtag normalize Twitch. I appreciate the plug there. No, but do not let this fool you, because even if he considers himself to be an atheism 101, he is capable of engaging in deeper content. He wants to be able to, and I think I can speak for you on this, Ethan, from all the times we talk. You want to be reachable to someone who may not be able to engage on those deeper levels, but you are incredibly capable of those levels yourself. And it's been a pleasure working with you these past 6 months.
Same. You know,
Okay.
I also, I know at times this can, I know I have to be very careful with this, but I will typically engage, even if it's just privately, with more extreme positions, only because I genuinely do want to find a way to get through to these people, in any way possible.
So
And
we're gonna get to these calls soon.
oh yeah, sorry.
It's starting to fill up. No, that's cool. But just as a last thing from you, really quick before we get into this, what would be your advice then to someone who's sitting back there and says, "Goodness, I have things that I want to say, and I think it's important that I go out there and say it, but I'm too nervous to get out there on the internet." Talk to that person right now and tell them what you needed to hear to get you out on the internet. Whoever is considering starting their own channel, this is your advice right now.
Do it. I know it can be intimidating and scary, and this community is filled with knowledgeable people. And I know that feeling where you're thinking, I can't do that. I'm not that smart. You'd be surprised what you can accomplish. And if anything, you'll be another voice to the community. Like we're in this together. Give it a shot, or reach out to other atheists that do typical like group videos. Like I do roundtables. Godless Granny does, I think, some roundtables too. Like reach out to those people and get your start on maybe a show. Like say, hey, this is a topic that interests me. If you're ever talking about it, let me know. I'd like to give it a shot. Otherwise, I'd say get a decent webcam, get a decent mic, and start doing it, because we need to have these conversations more.
Thank you. This is how I got started. I just looked at Ethan's channel and said, "Boy, would you like a little bit of help with this particular, with I think it was the transcendental argument that was being brought up to you?" And I said, "Would you like a little help in figuring this out?" And I'm not exactly, Captain Apologetics either. But this is where you go and say, "Hey, let's help each other learn." And I appreciate that you're out there saying, not only saying, "Come out here and lend your voices to us," but also offering a place for that voice to be, even if they don't have one of their own. Thank you, Ethan, for doing what you do for the community.
No, thank you. And I would just like to make one point real quick. I am totally dialing it down right now because I have to stay in this little box, and I'm used to like moving around and walking and like going in and out. So I'm like a child right now trying to hold myself in place.
And again, for those of you who are not able to watch, I am actually watching Ethan jittering and like shuffling just in little tiny shuffle. I'm not used to seeing you in such a confined space either. Yeah, I'm used to you basically line dancing all around your little studio area there. So this is a fun. You guys, if you can, watch this instead of just listen to this, because watching Ethan is every bit as fun as listening to him. Okay, so we're starting to get the call queues coming in here, and I am super happy about this. But hey, if you have something more that you want to talk about, please call. There are still plenty of lines available. Before we get to calls, though, I wanted to talk about ways you can support the show. One very simple way is to like and comment and subscribe to our YouTube channel, but also you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/truthwanted. And as one of our special Patreon benefits, we will announce a special patron of the week. And this week's patron of the week is, drumroll please, Tim Coleman. Tim Coleman, thank you very much for your continued support of Truth Wanted, and we hope that we keep giving you the content that makes you happy. Ethan.
Yes.
You ready to get into some calls?
I'm ready.